the tranquil as if restless. The world seems restless. The ego is restless. But the attention itself, awareness itself, is still. It's silent. The reality as if non-existent. And here I think we're talking about Brahman here. If all this is new to you, or fairly new to you, Brahman might appear not to have any existence. It might appear to be some religious notion without any substance. Now, here in our inquiry we're coming closer to home. We can look at what deep notions and attitudes divert us from pure experiencing. And one is that this is all a bit fictitious. One might be that this is very boring. I often have to examine my own attitude to the Yoga Vasistha. The Yoga Vasistha is a big book, it's a long book. And familiarity can breed contempt. I think there might have been one or two comments about my videos being really boring. And I make no apology for this, because I'm not trying to sell anything. We have to look at our own boredom. We have to look at our own prejudices. We have to look right through all that. We have to look right through our attitudes, our reactions, and get to the truth. There's going to be all sorts of excuses for not really taking this on board. And one of these excuses is, this is a lot of rubbish. There's no such thing as Brahman. It's non-existent. But who's saying this? What's saying this? This is coming out of awareness. How can you say you haven't got awareness? How can you say there's no such thing as the attention? You need to explore the nature of the attention, and you'll see it fits in with what's being called Brahman. Consciousness as if inert. Well, we get into the old conundrum, is a rock conscious? A rock is inert. But again, if something's inert, it doesn't actually matter whether it's inert or sentient. It still arises in awareness. Awareness still identifies with it. The self as if the object. And this is what happens all the time. The attention identifies with objects. The not self as if the self. We set up notions of the self, notions of who we are, notions of gender, relationship, profession, and so on. All these notions are also Brahman. These notions are non-different from Brahman. We've got the choice of identifying with these notions or identifying with our own nature, with Brahman. So again, this is an advanced stage of spiritual practice. We need to make a clear distinction between I and the world, between here and there. But here embraces there. Here also encompasses all notions. All notions arise from here. But then there's an identification with these notions, and then we begin to believe there is a separate there, separate from here. So we have to retrace that and come back to here. We see the notions, we don't get identified with them, but we must be careful about pushing these notions away as something extraneous. They're not. This is Brahman. The eternal as if perishable. We seem to have death. We seem to have all these things which fade away The attention does not change. Consciousness does not change. Or I should say, the nature of consciousness does not change. The unknowable as if knowable. Well, here we are talking about it, as if we can know something about it. We can't. The obvious as if shrouded in darkness. I said earlier that we're not getting caught up in scientific notions, but the inquiry is essentially superlatively scientific in the sense that it's empirical. It is uncompromisingly empirical, which means it's obvious. It's what presents itself as obvious. It's so obvious though that we deny it. We come up with arguments against it. And it seems to be shrouded in darkness because of all these arguments against it. So many of the statements that are made will be objected to on practical, philosophical, common sense grounds. This isn't something that can be proved. It can only be directly observed. It is everything, but it's difficult to see it because it's extremely subtle. So we must be careful here with this kind of paragraph. There's a tendency to get caught up in speculation and to get caught up in words. And we should avoid the urge to try and get caught up in resolving these philosophical speculations and questions, and use it as an opportunity to come back to the direct experiencing, to come back to here, not to reject there, but to understand that what is there is actually here. This is Brahman, and this is how things obviously are.